A world torn by great war, you awaken as a lowly vampire thrall set to tame the reawakened world of Alderaan. Will you claim the power of the V-Bloods, or will you fall victim to the overwhelming power of Dracula? What's up guys, my name is thesaga, and with the launch of vrising 1.0 and the brand new release on PS5, I think it's time we talk vrising. Let's begin. First off, huge thank you to Stunlock Studios for sponsoring this video. Here at Fervor Gaming, I've been a long-time fan of vrising since the early access days, so seeing the full launch of vrising and getting to be a part of the PS5 launch is pretty amazing. Now, vrising probably needs very little introduction, but seeing that we're finally getting vrising on PS5, let's remind the newest of vampires what a bloody good time they're signing up for. Vrising is a top-down 3D action RPG survival game where you play as a vampire in a massive world full of many interesting enemies, to say the least. Of course, you have your classic humans, the everyday peasant, the bandit ruffian, and the holy wielding paladins of the light, a sometimes powerful but unique faction. Of course, the many other creatures of the night like wolves, bears, spiders, ghouls, and of course, other vampires. You explore the world of Alderaan, a massive world that consists of many amazing regions like the Farbane Woods, the starting location for all vampire thralls that is overrun with low-level vampires and bandit ruffians, to the cursed forest cloaked in a thick fog said to be cursed by Dracula's minions themselves. You encounter many factions, strongholds, and just a massive world while navigating the dangers of sunlight, garlic, and of course every creature of the night and human alike looking to hunt you down. Now, being a vampire has its own unique benefits and perks. Obviously, vampires have powers. Rather from drinking blood or taking the power of powerful enemies scattered across the world, there's quite a bit of options. As you progress through the game, you have the ability to encounter those mini humans we spoke about a moment ago, each having their unique blood type, which offers some good buffs depending on the purity and the power of the said human or creature that you desire to hunt. This is actually paired with the multitude of weapons, which actually gives you a ton of customization. I was able to tackle some of the strongest bosses in the game, and by the time I arrived at endgame, I had crafted and tried well over 50 different weapons. Keep in mind, these are the weapons I was interested in, but there are quite a bit of options. This is actually the case for gear and accessories as well, which gives a ton of unique passive and benefits to really shape how you build your vampire. You accomplish the task of making powerful weapons and gear by defeating bosses or participating in world events that reward you with unique crafting components that once again can be used to tailor your build. A moment ago, I mentioned that there were powerful bosses. These enemies are called V-Bloods, which all offer something unique, whether that being raw ability, empowered, or crafting recipes to actually build your base up or outfit your character. As you adventure through the world, you will run into these V-Bloods, or if you want, you can use the V-Blood menu to track this massive list of V-Bloods, and as of recording this video, there were well over 50 unique bosses, some within different factions, adding to the uniqueness of the world. Seeing that you're not the only target that these enemies interact with, sometimes these V-Bloods and factions will just enter into something of a battle royale and fight everyone, which truly add a unique take on the open world survival boss fight mechanics. With that said, starting off, this isn't exactly the case. You will have to build up, facing many weaker V-Bloods, usually consisting of wolves, low-level vampire hunters, humans, and just other vampires. Quickly, you will eventually gain some pretty insane powers. Some offer blighted magic, powerful shape-shifting abilities, awesome defensive tools, and overall a ton of powerful V-Blood abilities that can help shape your vampire into the ideal creature of the night in hopes to challenge Dracula's throne. In the meantime, in a very survival-like fashion, you still have to build up your base. This consists of mining, chopping down trees, and pretty much doing all things that comes with a survival genre. Recently, I jumped on a PvP server with friends of the channel, Darth Microtransactions, Karn, and Nugan, and we played on Zizarin's PvP server and had a blast streaming it for a couple of days. Now, I know PvP isn't for everyone, and you of course don't have to PvP. I actually play on my PlayStation 5 on a PvE server, fully solo, in which the game is actually really well made for. But we had a pretty awesome event where we were all in one clan and faced the world that is vrising. The fights were fun, the race to getting powerful and wandering the world while still dealing with the unique challenges that come with being a vampire like sunlight, garlic, and of course V-Bloods and humans really added to this dark and dangerous world. Factor in the many players wandering the world, let's just say the combat and the gameplay were intense and interesting. Ultimately, the goal was to take down the newest of content added to the game recently that actually added quite a bit, from new blood types, tons of new enemies, a massive region, tons of new gear and bosses, and some pretty iconic characters like Simon Belmont and of course Dracula. It was a really awesome experience and something I would highly recommend any player who enjoys the survival genre and have friends to play actually do. With that in mind, I'm sure you're wondering, how does vrising differ on PlayStation compared to something like PC? Well, recently, thanks to Stunlock Studios, I had an early hands-on experience playing a bit on PS5, and while I wasn't on a massive PvP server like I previously had played on PC, vrising can actually be played solo, which was actually a really nice change of pace, as it allowed me to kind of just sit back, relax, and enjoy the story and the world a bit more. Admittedly, a lot of the systems and functionality of the game felt a bit better on PS5. As I said earlier, combat is a massive draw for vrising, and I would argue the best part of the game. Once again, I think PS5 actually does a few things a bit better, and that's the feel of combat. The feedback every time you cast a spell felt pretty impactful. You can feel the spells maneuvering between attacks, and attacking your foes with a ferocious bite had a ton of weight to it, making the combat feel way more enhanced when playing on PS5. With that in mind, the feeling extended to non-combat situations. The burning of the sun felt way more noticeable, adding a bit more realism to the danger that is sunlight when traveling throughout the world. I think when it comes to PlayStation, the DualShock system is actually really good, and the way the team implemented it gave PS5 something of an edge when it comes to the realism when playing. Now obviously vrising isn't all about combat or the traversal. There's plenty of downtime where you want to just jump in, build your base, and just enjoy. One of the best things about vrising has been the way the team has really shaped the building and the resource management system. I think one of the features that changed from when the game first was in early access to the 1.0 launch was the ability to fully move your entire base with the click of a few buttons. It was actually a pretty awesome sight to behold, if I'm being honest, and the convenience is actually really amazing. I think moving your entire base is one of the most riskiest and the most annoying things in all the survival games, and vrising actually does it better than any of them. With that in mind, PS5 did actually improve the system, especially the raw building aspects, making it quite a bit more structured. For those of you who are playing on PS5 and curious how does the experience vary, I would say overall the experience match up quite well. Unless I'm actively going to play with my friends on PC, I don't really see a reason why I wouldn't just enjoy it on PS5, especially considering all the changes and improvements that actually comes with the PS5 launch. So what's my opinion on vrising in general and vrising on PS5? Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, vrising is awesome. I'm a long time player and fan of the game. That doesn't necessarily cloud my judgment on the game in any capacity, because vrising does have its issues, mainly with how many different resources there are to manage and a bit of the targeting issues that come with controller. That does take a bit of time to get used to, but in the grand scheme of things, vrising is a solid title that offers a pretty damn unique gameplay experience that any survival player or action RPG player will enjoy. Considering the new update is out with the brand new zones, Dracula, and a brand new DLC, Legacy of Castlevania, which is available now if you're a fan of Alucard and the Castlevania series, I think it's safe to say that I would highly recommend vrising, and arguably recommend it more on PS5. It's by far one of the best survival ARPGs on the market and probably my favorite survival game, but I encourage you to give it a try yourself and check it out. With that said, that's going to be it for this one. Once again, a huge shout out to Stunlock Studios for sponsoring this one, and even more so giving me creative freedom to give my honest feedback. As a creator, I really appreciate that kind of stuff. Don't forget, you can get vrising on the PlayStation 5 store and Steam alongside the Legacy of Castlevania DLC. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video very soon.